Hey y'all, Scorpion here. So I'm just going to go through some different things on the circuit board. A little bit of component recognition, maybe we'll call this. I don't know them all, but I know some of them, and I know the ones that I'm looking for the most part. I haven't learned everything, but I've got a large majority of it. So y'all stick around, we'll go through some stuff just to try to give you an idea of what some things are and some things aren't.
Rock bottle on the track, boy.
Alright, so we'll start with the smaller one first. I'm going to try to tilt you down a little bit more here. Might be a little bit too far. Alright, so components, names of things to look for on boards, that kind of thing. So this is I'm gonna call it a potentiometer. I don't know what its real name is. I don't even remember what this come off of, but this adjusts whether it's volume, temperature, whatever. Not really anything great in there. You can tear them apart and sometimes get a little tiny piece of brass, but it's just that, a tiny piece of brass. Capacitors. Yeah, see, I turned the video on and I can't remember anything all of a sudden. Alright, so you got your transformers here. These are great. Pull them off, throw them in with your small motors. If it's copper wires in there and it's something that you want to actually take apart, you can. You'll get more money for it that way, but you're not making much difference in how much you get for it. If you compare your time to value, it's not worth something this small taking it apart. My opinion, not everybody's, but if you're going for value and you're not worried about time, it's a hobby, you're not really trying to run a business or live off of it, then take it apart by all means. Cut down the side, pull your windings out, and keep rolling. You've got another transformer right here. Again, this one is itty bitty, not something I'd take apart, but I would rip it off the board and throw it into my motors for 30 cents a pound or 25 cents a pound or whatever. This is going to be a piece of extruded aluminum. You got a MOSFET here, and there's a MOSFET that is attached to the back side of that piece of extruded aluminum. MOSFETs, if you knock the plastic off of them, you can sell them as number 2 copper. Just something you can do, make a little extra money. Is it really worth the time? Again, I haven't done that to any of them yet, so I don't know, but I've been saving them up. I got a nice bucket of them. So at some point, that might be something that I do to see. You got your wire here. Now, depending upon your scrap yards, of course your wire is wire. Toss that in 55%. Cut the ends off. Now your ends, you've got a few different ideas or things that you can do with them. Number 1, you can just toss them in shred and not worry about it. Number 2, a lot of times these are brass. Your scrap yard might take that as dirty brass, as it is. Then again, you may have to cut the plastic off of it. If you got to fight with the plastic and take the plastic off, just throw it in a shred and be done with it. So it's not steel. There's no magnetism there. Alright. So, again, check with your scrapyard and see if they'll take it as it is. Cut it off and drop it into dirty brass. Alright, the ones that don't have this on here, if they're not steel, drop them into brass. So, there's that. This is probably going to be brass. It looks copper, but more than likely it's going to be brass when you scratch it. Inside, there's going to be silver tabs. Contactors is what they're actually called. These are almost big enough that I take them off, but still they're still kind of small. I don't normally mess with this. Normally the only ones I mess with is like light switches, breakers, the big stuff. Because the small ones is just so much work and you don't get that much out of it. It takes a while to tear this apart and break everything apart and all that good stuff. These right here are probably brass too. If you wanted to pull those off, you probably could. They're probably brass. As you can see, no magnetism to them. So they're either aluminum or brass. For aluminum, I wouldn't mess with it. For brass, I'd pull them off. These are not diodes, they're resistors. Nothing really in those worth dealing with. You've got your little switch here. These are going to be the same. There should be little tabs of silver on those, same as these. There's little tabs of silver in that. If that's something you're after, by all means go for it. I don't mess with this. It's too small. I mean, silver is only $25 an ounce. And I know that seems like a lot, but it takes a whole lot of this to equal an ounce. These also have silver in them. That's diode. But again, crushing them, burning them, then putting them through the acid treatment and all that, it's not worth it at all. So, but you'll get some pretty good weight out of these two transformers here. These maybe between brass and silver that's in them, I would do these. These probably not. Definitely take my extruded aluminum and I'll pull my MOSFETs and my wire. And then the other brass that I can grab a hold of and rip off of there, you know, kind of easy. So next board. Turn around this way. Alright, so in here, again, capacitors. All these are capacitors. They hold charge. They build up a charge over time, and when something needs that power, when it turns on or it clicks over or whatever, these discharge. These are small, not really going to hurt you. When you get into a microwave, that one is huge, and it will knock your shoes right off your feet if it doesn't kill you. So again, learn some of your components, learn what to watch out for, and that kind of thing. This is going to be a Gold Corner BGA. Flat packs here, I do believe. I know that's definitely a flat pack. These, all the lines are underneath, so I'm not sure if they're actual flat packs or not, and I'm not going to sit here and read this stuff. You got a little chip here. IC chip. There's another flat pack. I have problems getting these off without busting them all to pieces, the small ones. That one I can probably get without a problem. There's a few more little IC chips. Your copper donuts, you can take those off, toss them in your motors. Or you can beat them with a hammer and break that stuff out of them. And if it's actual copper, turn it into your copper. That would be number 1, number 2 copper, something like that. I don't remember. I get those mixed up sometimes. You've got more donuts over here. You've got a fuse underneath here. Fuses also have silver in them, but again, not really worth the time. All these little switches have a silver tab in them. Some more IC chips over here. And I don't really see much of anything else that I would be worried about taking off. Again, that's if you strip them. If you don't strip them, that's might be a mid-grade board after you pull all your copper off of it. These places do not want the copper though. They want you to pull that off and leave the components on. It's either a low grade or a mid grade. I would think it's going to be at least mid grade with this chip on here. This is just a power board basically. I've already pulled this transformer and this transformer off of it. That right there is probably steel. Nope, it's aluminum too, so I can pull that off. See if I'm missing anything important here. No, not really. It looks like it's about it. This right here might be gold pins. You can pull that piece from underneath, maybe, and check it. If they're gold pins, cut them off and put them with your pins. Yep, we got gold pins. So you can cut those off, drop it in your pin bucket. So I mean, it's just kind of a breakdown of some of the components, some of the things to look for. This right here is copper, and this right here is copper too. And I don't really have pliers, but I've got needle nose. But I mean, this is a roll of copper just like this is. It's inside this part, which doesn't want to finish coming off. Give me a second here. We might make it inside this. Alright, there we go. So yeah. So again, you can toss that in, you know, with your motors. They'll take it that way, most places. This goes into the shred. This right here, so you've got the same thing that was on this is on here, okay? But there's no copper in it. I always throw those into my shred, and I'll just keep rolling with it. Normally I'll cut the wires on one side, feed it through, pull it out, and move on. Now, some of them are a little bit more of a pain than others to get to. Sometimes you got to pull that plastic off the outside. Let's see, each wire you pull out, it gets a little bit looser and easier to get the rest. Yeah, so strip that copper off of there and toss that thing. You can see now I'm about to stab myself. So yeah. And I mean, if you want to make this quick, just whack it with a hammer. Again, I'm indoors, so I'm doing stuff a lot easier. You can smack it with a hammer once. That piece of whatever you want to call it, it's looped again. That piece is a piece of oh man, I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, it's like, it's ferrous. Its purpose is to take the static basically out of the line. It cleans up the sine waves going through the cord. That's what it does. So instead of you getting a rough power, it's now smooth, and it takes all that. I can't think of the word I'm trying to come up with, but it takes that out of it. So, but yeah, I throw these, and they add up. They're pretty heavy. Toss those into my shred bucket, and then you just got, you know, your cords left. Put with your cords. But anyway, that's basically about it. I just wanted to kind of show y'all a few components, what they are, what to pull off, what to look for, and that kind of good thing. So hope everybody's doing good, and we'll catch you next time.